Eric Trump, who is executive president of the vice president of the Trump Organization, joins us now. He's got a great book out, Under Siege, and it has been number one for many, many weeks. It's a great book. Highly recommend it to you. Also, the name of a wonderful movie, as we discussed last time, Steven Seagal's Best. Eric, great to have you on the program.
Well, last time you thought it was Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it was Steven Seagal. Now, listen, we've come a long way since then. We're number one New York Times bestseller. We're number one every week on Amazon. We've done an unbelievable job, and this country is pissed off, my friend. I think you know that better than anybody. But this country is severely pissed off, and I think that's why it ran the charts as hard as it did, and it's why it's doing as well as it is.
I would tell you this, my friend. I think it was Clay who messed up Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal, because I would never mess up my 80s action lore. That's a Clay. I'm throwing Clay right under the bus on this one.
Throw Clay under the bus. I'm pretty sure it was Clay.
I'm taking this Whispering Angel Chardonnay drinking, fancy fellow, throwing him on the bus. Anyway, he sends his regards. By the way, he's on a super secret mission, which we will only be able to tell the audience about, I think, later on in the week. But he's abroad right now. But let me just ask you about this, because your dad today was president of the United States, was in the Oval Office with the Saudi Crown Prince, and the questions from the reporters, and one in particular, really intended to just be attacks, not even really questions. Very much in the "when did you stop beating your wife" category of questions.
Yeah.
And President Trump had just had enough. I got to say, I hear that. I see a lot of other people hear that, and they think, yeah, I actually don't think the president should sit there and just take abuse from journalists.
Well, listen, he's not good at taking abuse from journalists, and he's certainly at the point in his life where he doesn't need to. In fact, some of those interactions are some of the most comical interactions you'll ever see. And and the media always portrays themselves as jokers. They have this entire time. I mean, look at 60 Minutes, right? Look at Leslie Stahl. My father goes out. They're spying on my campaign. They're not spying on your. And then, sure enough, guess what? We find out that they're spying on the campaign. And look at CNN every single day, and look at the questions that they ask. And every single time they ask a question, everything that my father says is proven to be correct. And yet they continue to go down these narratives, right? I mean, look at the New York Times with their Pulitzer Prizes for the Russia hoax. It was a hoax. They let it run for a 3-year period of time, and then it came out that it was a hoax. They won't give back their Pulitzer Prizes, but yet they berated my father every single day. Look at all the sham indictments and trials in New York, where every single day, they said my father was going to jail. They said that he was good. He was the worst human. And guess what? Every single one of those lawsuits got overturned, right? Every single one of those indictments got overturned in the court system. And so, the point of the narrative is our media in this country doesn't have a whole lot of credibility. The trust in our media in this country is single digits, right? No one likes them. No one trusts them. They normally conduct themselves like absolute fools. And it's why American people don't like them, don't watch them. And it's why independent voice like yours is doing so well.
Well, on this issue of the critics of the administration, or of your dad and the team he has around him in the cabinet, it's pretty remarkable to me. You're the executive vice president of the Trump Organization. You've been operating in the world of international business dealings and at a scale with big dollar figures, a lot of employees, a lot of productivity, a lot of things going on. The voices that I hear attacking Trump from the left, the Democrat Party, attacking this administration on affordability, on things like housing, I just have to laugh. These people, this is the AOC Mamdani wing. They don't know a darn thing about how to build anything, what it costs, what it means to actually create product for people, like homes to live in. And yet they're the experts on this. I mean, this strain of Mamdaniism, it's just got to drive you nuts as part of a family of builders.
You know what drives me nuts is actually under Joe Biden, you had 4 years of 10% plus inflation in this country, right? That means every 2x4 at Home Depot is more expensive. I mean, housing prices literally doubled, and that's because of massive inflation. Guess who that benefits? That doesn't benefit the lower middle classes. That benefits people that have assets, and yet they're talking about affordability now. So you mean to tell me 10% compounded every single year? You remember energy prices? Bucky, you remember the little stickers that said, "I did that," and it's a picture of Joe Biden's face, and everybody was putting them on the gas prices, gas pumps all over the country, right? When energy costs became some of the most expensive in history, when America stopped exporting energy, right? They became dependent on other countries for energy, even though that we were totally energy sufficient under my father's first term, and he gave it all away when he started banning the Keystone XL pipeline and so many other projects, right? Biden caused that problem. Biden caused the inflation. Look at inflation rates today under my father versus inflation rates under Joe Biden. It's laughable that anybody could say that the affordability crisis occurred under Donald Trump and not Joe Biden, when you literally had the cost of everyday life go up a compounding 10% a year. It was over 40% over the 4-year period of time, when nominal wages were increasing like 2% a year, right? People are getting crammed down by 25, 30, 35% over that period of time, where they were losing grounds. The cost of everything was going like this, and obviously wage growth was virtually stagnant. I find it comical, to say the least.
Speaking of Eric Trump, #1 New York Times bestseller, Under Siege, is his book, which I know so many of you have gotten copies of, but if you haven't, makes a great present for the holidays. Eric, we're coming into the end of the year, holiday season, and there's a lot of talk, like I said, about affordability, and people are I'm sure we're going to see the news reports on Monday, Tuesday about the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner now versus obviously under Biden, the inflation for these dinners was tremendous. Now Trump, your dad's bringing this stuff down. But what is you're having to operate in the private sector in ways that you have tremendous connectivity here at home and around the world. What's your look ahead for the 2026 economy here at home? What are some of the things that you think could really ignite the continuation of a lot of the growth and a lot of the good policy that we've seen? Like, what are you looking at for 2026 when it comes to the costs of things, pocketbook issues, all that?
Buck, I've never been more bullish on the future of America. I mean that sincerely. If you look at what my father's doing on energy, right? He wants energy. He wants these SMRs. He wants these nuclear reactors, right? He's permitting them left and right. He's saying drill, baby, drill. He wants to have the cheapest energy in the world. And why is that? Let me just explain this to everybody. Energy costs are directly correlated to GDP. The lower your energy costs, generally speaking, the higher your GDP costs are. And you can track that for literally decades and decades around the world. You keep low energy costs, you're going to have high GDP. That's especially true when you have things like the crypto industries, the AI industries that can be transformational to an economy. Obviously, AI is that revolution. Crypto, in terms of digital finance, is that revolution. Guess what they need? They need energy. So does manufacturing. It needs energy. We've got more energy under our feet than any country anywhere in the world, and we're finally exploiting that again, which is an amazing thing for the United States of America. That's what pulls costs down. They say about 50 to 60% of all inflation is the cost of energy, because for every egg, for every gallon of milk, guess what you need to do? You need to transport that, and transporting costs are expensive, and that's all based, on oil and gas and ultimately energy. So we're solving the energy. Second of all, look at bonus depreciation, right? So my father put in 100% bonus depreciation. It means that every person who reinvests in their company, reinvests in their business, is able to write it off, day one, year one. What that's going to do in terms of the contracting space, what that's going to do in terms of inward investing in companies in America, is going to be transformational. Third of all, look at the tax plan. The largest tax breaks in the history of our country were put in by my father, right? That's going to be revolutionary for American competitiveness around the world, business owners. Fourth, look at the amount of inward investment that's coming into our country. Look at what Saudi Arabia is doing. Look at what all these countries are doing. Literally trillions of dollars at this point. Trillions and trillions of dollars are coming into the United States. And that's before you even get to, he's going out to every country saying, hey, listen, aside from the fact I want you to invest $2 trillion in the US, or $1 trillion or $800 billion, I want you to go out and I want you to buy 200 Boeing aircraft, right? I mean, he's literally saving industries by what he's doing. Then fifth, you look at, the tariffs. The tariffs are working. It's hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars that are flowing back into this country based on tariffs, based on the fact that everybody wants to and needs to trade with the United States of America, which is by far the world's largest economy at $32, $33 trillion. And guess what he's doing on the opposite side? He's getting rid of all tariffs. He's getting rid of all duties, which is allowing Ford and allowing all the American companies to be able to export their product overseas. The point of this story is I've never been more bullish on the United States ever before. There's confidence in this country. There's respect around the world for the United States of America. Everybody wants to be part of the dollar. You see stable coins all around the world that are pegged to the US dollar. Trillions of dollars are going to come into our economy based on stable coins, based on the growth of cryptocurrencies, which I believe in with every aspect of my heart and soul. Our economy is going to boom. Are you going to have volatility? Of course, you always have volatility in every economy, but I think you compare America to Europe, it's not even close. You compare America to just about any other region in the world, Buck, it's not even close. We're doing all the right things, and we're doing them quickly and smartly, and America is ultimately going to win because of it. And there's never been a time in my life where I've been more bullish on the United States of America.
Eric Trump, everybody, go get a copy of his book, Under Siege. And Eric, thanks for coming by to hang out. Good to see you as always.
Thanks, Buck.
Yeah, look, I'm bullish on the economy too. I think there's going to be great things happening. I also want to save you money where I can, right? Your own personal economy. That's a good thing. And all the time I've been here on this show talking about Pure Talk, it has been my wireless cell phone company for years. And today they're offering unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data with a 30 gig hotspot for just $29.95 a month for life. This is Pure Talk's top tier plan, normally $65 a month. Now through December 7th, $29.95 a month. You're saving over 50% a month every month for life, let alone the savings percentage you might realize from a more expensive plan with another carrier. And by the way, this is on their crazy fast 5G network with Pure Talk, but this offer is extremely short-lived. Make the switch today. Dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck for Pure Talk's best unlimited plan for just $29.95 a month for life. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team can have you switched in minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, and start saving with unlimited for life for less than $30 a month. Dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck to switch to my wireless company, Pure Talk. Taxes and fees not included. Some restrictions apply. See puretalk.com for details. This offer expires on December 7th, 2025.